So today's video is going to be something a little bit different, but I still think it's extremely important to talk about. In my YouTube comment section, I often get questions like, have you tested this camera, or what about this camera? And a lot of the time my answer is no, I haven't tested it, and no, I will not be testing it. And there's a couple reasons why. Today we're going to look at those. So let's load up Amazon here and start with the Apeman A79. This is a camera I was looking at the other day and I almost purchased to review. I'd actually added it to my cart and even clicked checkout, but then I did a little bit more research and decided that I was not going to be reviewing this camera. There's a couple reasons why. On first glance, it seems like this camera would be a very good deal. It's $59 and then $20 coupon, so that's $40 US, and it's got 750 ratings with a 4.5 star average across those 750 ratings. So that means a lot of people seem to like this camera, or did they? Well, what initially attracted me to this camera is the fact that it has an external microphone, anti-shake, and is under $50 US. Now those three things together are quite hard to find. It's a very good combination. And Apeman even has this handy chart down here to compare their cameras, and if you look at the A79, it kind of ticks all the boxes. Got your remote control, external microphone, anti-shake, or EIS, even 4K 30 frames per second, although that's going to be a fake specification. Now this wasn't exactly what spooked me, because I know a lot of 4K cameras at this price point are fake 4K. What spooked me were the reviews. So 750 reviews, 4.5 star average, but there's something a little bit odd going on about them. If you look at the customer images, yeah, they're not particularly great, but that could be the fault of the camera or the customer themselves. But then looking a little bit farther back is where things become problematic. So for example, if I go to see all customer images here, and I look back at some of these older photos, let's find one for example. Like this one here. This is quite clearly not taken with the camera because the horizon is straight, and these cameras have a ton of distortion. The other thing you notice is that this person does not have verified purchase under their name, so there's a chance that they probably didn't buy this camera and they were just paid to review it. Same with this photo, no distortion, was not taken by that camera. So for example, this one here was definitely taken with a professional camera because things in the background are blurry. Action cams only focus on the background, so the background will never be blurry unless something is wrong with the camera. So that was what spooked me, and it's a pretty classic case of review fraud, but it gets even worse. So I did what any consumer should do, and I went and looked at the 1 and 2 star reviews, because those usually tell a little bit more about what the flaws of the product are, even if sometimes they're pushed towards being more negative than positive. For example, here are a couple reviews. Honest review, sound is non-existent. The picture quality is so-so, but the main issue is sound. Microphone barely picks up any sound even if using external mic. And the entire reason I wanted this camera was the external mic, so that kind of blows it. Too many issues, and this person also mentions that the external mic doesn't seem to work. The camera microphone is pretty horrible. There's no way to tell if the camera's recording. Horrible audio, maybe I got a defective camera. Yeah, okay, these are pretty normal, but still. There's one thing that stood out to me in the 2 star reviews. Fake review scam. This person here. Reviews are bought. Don't believe them. Sellers offer a free battery and charger, which should come with the camera anyways, in exchange for a great review. So buyers assume that they're getting a 5-star product. Rather than an honest review, buyers are seeing inflated reviews. And yeah, that's a pretty classic case of review fraud. Actually, the first cameras that I saw doing this were the Akaso cameras, and they used it to much success. Now they're one of the biggest brand names on Amazon. But in the box there's a little flyer that says get a free gift if you leave a 5-star review, and I think that's a little bit unethical, to be honest. Other reviews, same thing, 0 sound quality, terrible. But even when you look at these 5-star reviews, some of the photo and video samples are just not good. So that's what scared me off of this cam. Essentially, it's a generic based off of the Allwinner V3 platform with a rudimentary image stabilization, and the video and audio quality is going to be quite poor overall. So I cancelled my order on that. And let's look at the next camera. We're gonna do, hold on, pull up my list here. BoiFun. Boy, this one is not gonna be fun. So we see here BoiFun 4K 20 megapixel anti-shake, blah blah blah, you know, all the typical lies. This camera is not 4K, it's not 20 megapixel, but again, it's $40 and has an external mic. So I've been asked about this camera specifically a couple times from people on my YouTube channel, and this is one I do not recommend purchasing. There's a couple reasons. First of all, I've reviewed a camera with the same internals, and it was awful. It was one of the worst cameras I reviewed last year. Like, look at these sample images though. They're really blue and there's almost no color to them, there's no life to them. Yet, everyone who has these horrible sample images has a 5-star review. So this is a classic example of the PayPal refund scheme. What happens are sellers send out emails offering a free sample of the camera in exchange for a 5-star review. And what they do is they get you to purchase the camera at 100% cost, and then they refund you by PayPal once you've left a 5-star review. Now this is just dishonest, but it works. And I'd say 80 to 90% of non-Western brands on Amazon use this scheme in order to inflate their reviews. But this one just blows my mind because of how bad some of these photos are, yet they're still given 5-star reviews. Like, for example, look at this sample here. There's no color to the yellow flowers. The sky is almost purpley blue in the top corner, and everything down here is kind of this dull grayish green. It's just terrible. And then this one here too. The sky in the background almost has like a pinkish color to it. So what can you do to avoid cameras or products that have inflated reviews using this PayPal tactic? Well, there's almost nothing you can do. Amazon seems to turn a blind eye to this because it's third-party sellers who are doing it, and since the refund takes place outside of Amazon's system, they can't actually see who is being refunded and who is leaving an honest review. Really, the only way to see legit reviews would be via independent third parties on YouTube, but sometimes even those can be a bit iffy. I'd say just look at the video quality, look at the still photos, and look at the negative reviews, the 3-star, the 2-star, because those are normally the people who got the product, didn't like it for some reasons. 1-star, on the other hand, tends to be dead on arrival. So next up is a pretty big brand name camera from Akaso, and Akaso isn't exactly innocent. They're the ones who pioneered the free swag in exchange for a 5-star review, and I'm pretty sure they also send out free samples for 5-star reviews, but the EK7000 Pro is a camera I'm not testing for a different reason. This is because I've already tested cameras with the same internal sensor and processor, so this one is going to be exactly the same as other cameras I've tested. But this camera in particular I'm not going to buy because I have to buy something, test it, and then resell it in order to maintain my YouTube channel. And that's just a little bit of a hassle for something that I know is going to be fairly mediocre quality for the money. $70 is so close to $80 to $90, you could get a way better camera than this one for the cost. And finally, we're going to look at one more thing that happens. Cooau. That's the brand. So the last camera we're going to look at is from Cooau, another cheap action cam with an external mic. Again, this is sort of my hunt for that impossible camera. Good audio quality, good video quality, and under $50 US. So what Cooau did here is a little bit of a bait and switch. They had an old camera that had many 5-star reviews, and they didn't want to lose those. So when that camera went out of stock, they put a new camera on the same listing, and you'll actually see it if you go back to some of the oldest reviews here. Let's load that page now, and take a look at all customer images. The most recent ones are from this camera, which for the record is kind of a piece of crap and I would not recommend buying whatsoever. But if you go back to some of these oldest images here, you'll see a completely different camera. This one, for example, is silver, and it's based on better hardware than the one they're currently selling. I mean, completely different. Other reviews, completely different camera. 5-star reviews are valuable to these sellers, so this is why they want to maintain them when they put new cameras out to market. And it's funny that a lot of reviewers have started calling out companies. For example, look at this review. This company offers free stuff for fake reviews. I purchased this camera because of all the wonderful reviews. Don't buy it. The screen is the worst part. Really low resolution, barely viewed straight on. Goes on for a little while like this. Video resolution is nowhere near 4K. So here's a sample from a camera based on the same internal hardware that I personally took, not this reviewer. Let me know in the comments below if you think that this is worth 5 stars. In general, these are the reasons why I don't review the vast majority of cameras from Amazon. Either they're just generic garbage with inflated reviews and fake specification, or they're just a generic based on something I've already tested that's going to have similar performance. Also, I've recently noticed that several sellers seem to stick their fingers into different pies and sell 2 or 3 or even 4 different brand names of cameras. It makes it look like there's competition, but that's really not the case. Anyways, I hope that this video helped you avoid getting scammed, and I also hope that Amazon will step in and do something about these fraudulent reviews. But since a lot of this happens outside of Amazon using a PayPal refund, I doubt that any of these sellers or reviewers will get blacklisted. Did you buy a cheap camera from a relatively unknown brand on Amazon? Was it good or was it garbage? Let me know in the comments below. Like, share, subscribe, and as always, thanks for watching.